all the deep scouting projects Brad Holmes' Lions staff has put together in recent years, my favorite one might actually be a recent fourth-round pick, Giovanni Manu, a gigantic, hyper-athletic tackle from Tonga by way of British Columbia. He moved to Canada at 11 and initially focused on basketball before growing like 5 inches in a year and like 100 pounds as well. That eventually grabbed him some football attention. He got a scholarship from the British Columbia Thunderbirds, a Canadian university football system, 4-year starting tackle for the Thunderbirds with some guard experience. But most important, at 6'7", 352 pounds, Manu boasts elite length with your 35-inch arms and an 83-inch wingspan, 10.5-inch mitts as well. Ran a 5.06 40 with a 33.5-inch vert at his pro day. That is freakish on a freakish level. Training camp started this year. Manu looked every bit the guy who played college football in Western Canada. It was messy far more often than it wasn't. Physically, however, I don't think he was really ever overwhelmed. If he gets himself square and shoots his hands right on a one-on-one rep, it's pretty tough for just about anybody on the roster to physically outmaneuver this guy. He's an actual legit freak athlete. Like, he could be a professional wrestler if he wasn't playing football. The problem is all this stuff comes together maybe once in every 5 reps, maybe sometimes once in every 10 reps. It's very inconsistent. See a little bit of all that here from the tape as we'll see some of Manu's highlights from the Lions-Chiefs preseason game. Manu actually got like the entire second half, which is really good work for him. Some really good stuff, some also really not good stuff. In the middle, you can tell that he's growing, and we can also see some of the areas where he needs to grow. But in general, I think this is an awesome project for Detroit. I'm really excited to see how Hank Fairley, works with Giovanni Manu, how far along he comes, not only this year, but maybe next. It's a really cool deal, so excited to get into this one as well. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, here we go. First rep I'm going to look at here today, just going to be a jet sweep away. Manu is the left tackle here. I want you to also watch Duke Clemens, for the guard next to him, number 63. I think this is actually a pretty interesting prospect. Rookie out of UCLA. He's had a couple nice weeks. First one, though, all we're looking at is how hard he comes out, how quick he's going to come down and come across the 93 here. He's going to be reaching to his right, along with Clemens. The idea there is for Duke to get up to the linebacker, of course, and we're reaching on a wide zone so we can see some of the athleticism. Good step, a little high, but you can see how far out, and then he's just, pushing and wobbling. How fast he comes out, how big and how fast this guy is really the main event here. That's why they took the chance on him, 6'7", 350 plus. I don't think he's lost any of that weight. As you can see, same play from the other angle. You can see the big step out. Could use a little bit more of a front step there, but that's sort of the technique with this guy right now. As you look at this front leg, maybe a bigger step there would be better, and he could get all the way across there. But there's explosion, and he's always moving somebody, right? Always doing something. There's Tom Kennedy making a play as well. All right, next one. I didn't circle this one for I don't know why. 59 here. It's just going to be a duo call. He's going to be big on the backside of the duo here. Tackle against the big edge 97. This is something the Lions run a lot. Taylor Decker is often alone over here with a tackle or Penei Sewell, depending on which side they want to run it to. One back duel, power without the pull, and then you can see Manu over here. There's a couple things here to note right off the shoot. Number one, the good. He's strong as shit. Like, this guy, he's quick out of his stance. He's got the cat agility and all that. Not agility, but the cat burst and all that sort of stuff. Really explosive, quick out of his stance, can get right up on you. Everything after that can sort of wobble, as we can see here. His hands are all over the place, very wide. He's obviously playing tall. You can see that he's bending at the knees, which is good, but like his hands are super wide. He's on the chest here. 97 eventually gets away from him. A better player is probably going to do a better job of that, but a guy who's not very good maybe, or playing in this preseason game, not going to do as well, as we'll try to stop it here as he comes out. You can see coming out fine, nice step. But then we're right up in the air, and as you can see on the other side, it's easier to spot. The hands are wide. He's like grabbing around his shoulders, and that's either you're going to get a holding call or they're going to rip right out of that if they've got stronger grip strength. And, that's something that he's got to learn big time on, is the hands. His hands often get way too wide, and he can't do this to just about everybody. He can do it here, though, and it looks pretty good when he does. Not too bad. All right, here we go. Another one sealing off on the backside here on a pin pull sweep. You can see again, he's just going to come out big on big. This time, better job of getting that one hand inside that he's going to work. We'll go back there a little bit. Sorry, I went too far. This time you can see him shoot it looks like his left hand is going to go into the chest, and he brings the right hand over. A much better job of getting that. See, there it is. You get the left hand inside, the right hand's going to come over the top, and then he's going to be able to just completely take this guy apart and do whatever he wants with him. When he gets a chest on a guy, it's over. And you can see there, he just looks like a grown man against a little boy. And that is not a little boy, 97. He's a grown-ass man he's playing against. So, like, This guy, you can see why the Lions took the chance on him. You can see there's a lot to like. The technique and everything is whatever. But when he comes out and gets right on somebody and knows kind of what he's trying to do, it's curtains. And that's exactly what you want. Here you go. Some inconsistencies starting to creep in here. Not an effort situation, whatever. Just, I think, mentally not quite knowing maybe what's going on or knowing what we're doing here. This looks like a wide zone going away from him, and it kind of looks like he's maybe going the wrong way. If we're going to play this here for a second, you can see where this all goes as everybody steps, right? We're all stepping this way. The ball's going that way. You can see where Duke went to the right as well, and he's going to hook 93. You know, ideally, I think, I'm not, again, like I've said in other videos, I'm not in the huddle. I don't know every call, but ideally, you're going to want Gio to get over there with Duke Clemens, get the combo block on, give him the go call, and that way Duke can get up to this linebacker here, and you're trying to do the same thing over here with 92, right? Trying to combo that and move up. Fortunately for Manu, Colby and these guys can't quite figure out what to do here, and the whole thing gets blown up. But, you know, he's obviously not quite doing what he's supposed to do here. He's going the wrong way. That's not what we want. We're not going on the backside. He's got the tight end right next to him. I think he realizes it a little bit late, but, you know, I guess, like I said, fortunately for him, he's not the reason why the play gets destroyed, I guess. But as you can see it from the other side here, he's just going to go the wrong way. Everybody else is going to go that way, and he kind of bumps into the tight end there. Is that Parker Hesse? And he just dislodges Parker because he's so big. But he goes the wrong way, and it's obvious when a big dude goes the wrong way, right? Or steps in a different way from everybody else. So that's one where it's like, you know, the consistency of sort of knowing what you're doing, still definitely coming. And that's something you see in practice a lot with Giovanni right now. First third down, I think that he had, and he's going to get fortunate that they didn't call this. This is going to be another focus error. And again, right after another rough play. So, you know, you want to deposit that and move on and just get forward. And you can see he's thinking a little bit too much. He flinched and he's late, and the whole thing, he doesn't get anything on 97, and he's right there to eat that screen. So, you know, the play that looks live, maybe you say, well, Hendon, why'd you throw that ball right? It's really not his fault. As you can see, there's a little bit of a flinch, or at least he goes late there, and then, you know, he can't get any, you know, ideally he's going to want to get hands on this guy, or at least get in his way so he can't have a free chip there. He's late, can't get out. You know, we don't know what that would have looked like, but that's another one of those focus things it's got to clean up. New drive. We're going to go back to the wide zone. Same thing that he stepped wrong on the last time, right? Still got the tight end inside him, weak side wide zone, got the fullback over here. This time he's going to go the right way, but we talked about earlier about that, you know, communication. When you get to that 3-tech right there, 93, he and Duke Clemens, there it goes. He's going to need somebody, ideally, I think, generally speaking, it's the guy in the back, so it would be Manu. Got to tell him, okay, go, release, get up there, get to 48, and get off of him, right? Usually that's how that goes. I'm not right there. I don't know exactly what happened. Typically, that's a communication situation that he's got to get a little bit better at, or both of those guys maybe. But Duke can't come off here. And on the backside, I think we'll see a little bit more of why Duke can't come off. And I don't think it could be communication. That's the first thing I thought when I saw it. But then you watch the backside of this. Here we go again. We talked about the hands, right, and how they can get a little wide. Like, his hands are on Duke's hip. So, I mean, the hands have got to get more under control. I think part of the reason why 63 can't climb up there is because Gio's sort of on him, and he can't get out of there. So he's a little bit late coming out. But as you can see, and I stop it right there, if Manu tells him go, or they get a clean release here and they can just hand that off, Manu is going to be able to get that one step over, seal this dude off. 63 comes up and climbs, and this thing could be gone. This thing could be one cut and you're out of here, 27. Still a pretty good hole, you know, still pretty good chunk of yards that they get on this whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, and I think you can see it, right, why everything about him, he stepped the wrong way before, now we're going to go the right way. It's just a matter of, like, you can't get it all together at the same time. There's little things that have to go, but you can see the athleticism and the movement. I mean, every time he pushes a guy, the guy moves, including his own guys, as we've seen a couple times now. So you can see why, you know, he was selected probably higher than a lot of other people thought maybe he needed to go. If there's a couple teams that did like him, Lions jumped at it, and it's not difficult to see why they like him. Here we go, another wide zone, weak side. This side, it's going to be at him, so at Gio, he's going to come across and want to get a bit of a seal here. As we can see, he comes out, and again, it's the same sort of situation, right, where it was on the earlier one with the duo play, where he's coming out, and it's, number one, it's too tall, and number two, the hands are either late, and they are late because this guy's already inside of him, and now they're wide. So it's erratic, and we've lost all of our sort of ability to keep that leverage and the power producing angles and all that. And if he has leverage and that ability to do that, he's dominating people. Like, that's the beauty of him as a prospect. It's just you got to get the hands more disciplined. and more in line. He can do it. It happens every once in a while, but it doesn't happen enough. And a lot of times he can still win reps, as we see here. He does a fine job because he just turns it into a bear fight. And, he just bear fights with a guy and it's a battle. I don't know how sustainable that is long term. Usually it's not. But a guy that's big and this strong, if you can get the technique cleaned up and he's still making some mistakes. See, there you go. He's too high, but you got the hand in there a little bit. Not too bad. The other one was wide. But as long as he's got one paw on him, he can fight and scrap. And it's not pretty and not clean. But a lot of what he did in this game wasn't pretty and clean, but it was a little bit better than what I saw the first week of pads. The first week of pads, he was not even a get in the way guy. When I say about it, like a get in the way blocker is a guy who, he's not really moving anybody per se. He's not really resetting the line of scrimmage. He's not dominating or doing whatever, but he's in the way all the time. He's really smart, and he's got himself in position to where he's a big boy that can move a bit, and he just gets in people's way. And if the back can read that, it's more than enough. He hasn't even really been able to do that in some of those early practices. This has been more of that, in my opinion, the stuff that we've seen here from him and the stuff that we will continue to see in this game. In the way in that, when in doubt, let's just default it to the best thing that I am, which is a big, strong guy. I'll just get into a fight with you here, and you're not going to beat that. So sometimes that'll work, and in this case, not perfect, but he's so strong and big and athletic that he can recover, as we saw a little bit there when he was dipping, that he's just hard to beat one-on-one. He's hard to get unless you have elite hand strength or elite twitch yourself. It's going to be hard to get around this guy. All right, here we go. Another outside zone play. Again, they're going to go back to the weak side. And again, effort is going to be off the charts good. But the hands and everything are already, you can see here, it's already a mess in terms of technique. And it's crazy how far he gets down, and almost all the way down, as we can see how far he kind of climbed. That's a pretty long way to go for a big man there if they're going to want to get him to come down and reach 93. But he... 93 slanting with it, and Gio almost gets all the way across there. You'd like to see if he can keep the hands in, deliver more of a punch and dislodge this guy so that he can't cross him like that. That's going to be a heck of a block, and he's in position to make it too. That's, he's still there, and he still creates some havoc, and they get something out of this, which isn't whatever, but it's not, the technique and the fundamentals here, everything but the effort. The effort's awesome. Everything else is really not what you were looking for. But he plays it all the way through and doesn't just stand there and stop. Pass pro rep here, and this is one of my favorites on his tape. You're going to see the big step, the big set, him firing off, and the athleticism of how it's going to be difficult. We already talked about how long he is, how big he is. He's got all that working for him. But remember now, the speed and the explosion of how fast he can get into his set and just kind of beat a guy to the spot. Here we go, 59, boom, big step. And he doesn't quite know what to do with it after that big step, and his depths are always a little bit off. But you can see how fast he's out. 97's in trouble. He's already kind of done. If this is, if Gio gets his hands inside and fires and hits the chest first, this is over. Doesn't quite, but he's still in position to recover, and he's still a great athlete to where, this isn't going to be too much of a problem. Get that hand around, I can bend with you, and we go around, and I'm just going to ride you out of there. And he won that rep. Even with some sloppy stuff, he won it off of the snap. He won it with that big leg kick back. Here comes, wham, into the ground, through the ground, and we're ready to go. If his hands are inside, this is the stuff that I would imagine, Fraley and these guys, they can work with the rest of this. If he's taking that big step and he's slamming down and he's planting and he's already a guy that's going to be tough to deal with because of all of his athletic recovery, good offensive line coaches like the Lions have, they can deal with the rest of it. So if you get yourself there in position, everything else can be kind of a mess. As you can see, the depth can be a little bit too high. He needs to get a little deeper here. But whatever, he recovers, and he could ride him on out of there and give Hendon Hooker some time to make a throw. Clean enough. He had a really good pass pro grade in this game. You can see here as I stop. Look at the big step coming out. Look at everybody else. They can't do that. Colby can't. That's like what Sewell looks like when he's coming out of his stance in comparison to everybody else. That's the special stuff there from the big man. Long drive here, like we said, long drive, 90-degree heat. This is a hot one, and this is going to be some of the stuff that another thing he needs to work on here. As you can see, he's going to get a little tired. This looks like we're leaning, and we're a little bit tired now, a little bit. We're not firing out with the same kind of intensity maybe that we had before. And I think that that's going to show up here in a second. Not as much on that one, but it's creeping in a little bit. Another pass pro rep and another one we're going to see the big time kick in the initial get off and getting a great set and getting a getting a great position. But the depth and everything else is going to be off, and he's going to have to readjust as we watch here. Boom. Like he's already there, but he's sort of not deep enough and not where he wants to be, so he has to sort of get around and adjust and keep going. Like he gets there and he stops moving a little bit, or he's not as deep as he wants to be, and then he's got to kind of bend around. Still gets there because the length is so good, as we'll see on the other side of this, on the back or the on the backside. Here we go. Even if he has to pause or readjust or make up for not getting deep enough, as this guy's just going to go deep and buy him here, like get his hand down, you can see on the back end there, the length just one arms him and just shoves him out of there. I mean, he just rides him out with his momentum. He's got enough foot speed to run with the guy. This is not, again, we're not dealing with Von Miller over here. It's preseason in the second half. But this is a guy who's got a long way to go. Got the other hand moving there too, got the one chop and got the other out. So, his reaction and recovery is often not too bad. Another pass pro rep here, and I think this is where we're going to see some tiredness, this is a quick set, and he's kind of just there, hands are sort of whatever, and we're just going to react and let him run himself out of the play. That now we're getting tired, I think, a little bit. I think you're starting to see some of that as wind and shape and all that you can even sort of see it in the stance here a little bit, right? Where we're leaning and sort of not really weight on that, and you're just going to sort of stand up and hands are just wide, and it's just going to be a fist fight a little bit at the line, which is not going to work against better players. And it does there, and it's going to be a fine grade, but like you can't allow that. You know what I'm saying? Like that a good player is going to toss him. A strong player, I don't care how strong he is. His feet are too wide. His hands are all over the place. He's giving up his chest. That's got to improve, and especially when you're tired, because it's going to get even worse if you are tired. As we're going to see here, he is in fact tired. There it is on the left side again, and you can see again in the stance, just sort of leaning in there and not even close to the same, energy that he had when they ran this like 2 minutes ago, right? And so I think that's one of those things that has to continue to improve. Just wind, shape, time on task, reps. The important thing to note is he finished this drive and he finished this game. He continued all the way through. They had another couple of long drives in there, so could have been more, and he's going to have to play more, but that's where we're at right now with Giovanni Manu if you're the Lions. Pass pro rep here, and this is going to be, I think, partial tiredness, partial awareness, as he's not going to look off the side here. He's just going to look inside. There's no eyes to the outside, and they're going to get a blitz here from the outside. He never sees it. Really good job by Hendon Hooker to get rid of this football. He saw it, as you saw, and got rid of that thing immediately. I thought Hendon Hooker looked very good in this game, much better than he did in that first one. But that's another one where Gio, conversations with, with our other linemen here to know what we're doing, right? Going to need to slide back outside and pick that up. That could have been a real mess, and it wasn't. Good job by Hendon Hooker there. Let's wrap it up on a good one, as he hung in there this whole way and kept fighting. And this is the thing I like about him the most. I've seen guys like this come through, offensive linemen, really big, giant dudes, that have they've never been tested. They've barely played like big major, either they played super small school football or really didn't play much in major college football. And they get to the NFL because they've got the traits and they've got the length and they've got all the stuff, but they don't quite know what it takes in terms of the work ethic and the drive and all that stuff to do it every single day, to just kind of fight through the adjustment period, because there's going to be a massive one in terms of how hard you work. And that's a thing, just a thing. He played in a different level of ball. All that changes up here. It's just a different deal. We've seen guys even come through in this place since Campbell's been here that have had all the tools, and it just doesn't work out because for whatever reason it doesn't work out. The thing I like about Manu is that you do not see him tapping out. You don't see him saying, I need out of here, whatever. When he's obviously tired and dying, he doesn't dog it. He'll dog it on a play or two that we saw in there, but he gets himself back and he finishes here, and it's not perfect. And you can see some of the stuff, though, again, of why they like him, as he just keeps playing all the way through. And they're going to finish this drive with points, which is what you want, of course. But hanging all the way in there, here he is again. You're going to see some of the quickness on the other side. tired, exhausted, whatever. We're going to keep fighting, get that kick out there, and get in there and take that away. This guy is a toolsy player, and I do like his mindset, his mentality. He talked a lot in preseason about how proud he was to be able to play next to Penei Sewell, and how proud he was to represent Polynesian football players and all of it, and how special his time in Canada was, and just a really great kid who I think works his butt off and was very determined to do this. He said he picked 59, one, to honor his dad. I believe it was his birthday or his age, whatever it was, but two, because he wanted his locker to be next to Penei's, and he wants to learn as much from him as he can. So this is cool stuff. I think this guy's really fun. He's fun to monitor. It's going to be a fun one to watch. And we'll see how much more he gets there probably in that third preseason game. I doubt he's ready to play much this season. We'll see about next year. Goal would probably be the year after that. But this is a fun project for Hank Fraley. I think this is going to be a really cool one for him to watch indeed. And with that said, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys later.